Hey folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to work on some fun little projects with some UV resin. And we're going to use some buttons from the Dress It Up Button Shop, which is the sister company to Jesse James Beads. So let's turn down and I will show you what these projects are going to be. We're going to make two different projects. Number one, we're going to make a pair of earrings. We're going to use these slits right here, and we're going to put some of these wonderful tiny rounds of Halloween buttons in here, one color in each one of these. I think we're going to put the yellow orange here, the orange, the purple, the black. And then I'm going to add a little bit of some glitter to give it a little bit of oomph. So, well, actually, I'm going to probably put a little bit of both of these colors of glitter into this one. But first, and then we're going to put some spiders on here as well. Hang them up here where the little loop is at. But we'll, of course, put those on as we put the earrings together after they are dry. So let's put this one aside for right now. And the other thing we're going to work on, we're going to use this purple glitter, is a little box. Now this is going to be, this is like a little jewelry box, and we're going to use, oops, don't lose those, these Nightmare Before Christmas buttons. I'm not going to use the faces, but we are going to use Jack and Sally, and I think my daughter said the dog's name is Zero. And then we're also going to put on some little black and gray flowers, as well as one white one, to add a little extra something in there. Like I say, with the little purple, since purple is one of the colors of this movie, on the back. So let's get started doing this. We can put the box itself aside. We don't need it. What we're going to decorate is the top. So the first thing we're going to need is our silicone mat. Now this mat is not affected by the UV resin. It'll pop right off if it gets on, so I'm not too worried about it. We're going to put those in there so they won't get lost. We'll put those aside while we get our mat out. So there we go. One green, bright green mat, and our box top here. Put these aside, and then we will open up our buttons here. Oh, I thought that would open up relatively easily with popping out those, but there we go. So what we need to do is get the pieces we want. Oops. Well, we weren't going to use that one anyway, so we'll put that other one aside. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut the shank off of the back here. Now, be aware that when you cut the shank off, that will allow sometimes these pieces to come apart, but we are going to put this together relatively quickly, so we'll put it like sort of like this, and with the flowers. Come on, flower. So we're going to put it sort of like this when we're done. So, like I say, the first thing we need to do is cut off the shanks. So we'll get some of our flush cutters. So these ones have been damaged. You can see there's some holes right through the middle of that, but that's all right because you don't need them sharp to cut these little shanks off. So just get it straight down to it and just clip it. And there we go. Shanks all removed. So the first thing we need to do after we get our shanks removed, take these babies off of the box. Now this has a slight lip, so it's going to hold the resin in. However, it is not going to be high enough to cover these, but that's fine because they're going to just sit on the top. So let's get our resin out and we'll start this. So the first thing we're going to do is put a thin layer of the UV resin on our top here. So this is the UV resin, and we're going to just pour it up here. Now you probably should use this in an area that is ventilated because this is pretty strong smelling. So now, even though this isn't entirely full, I am going to take a toothpick to help spread this out because I don't want it to be atrociously thick on the bottom layer here. Okay, so now that I've got that sort of spread out, I'm going to take a little glitter and we're just going to sprinkle that lightly into the resin. Now if you want, you can take your toothpick again and spread this glitter out a little bit if you figure it's too thick, like maybe right here or right here, and just move it about. And now we need to put our light on it for about a minute until it starts to dry. So in all actuality, the light stays on for exactly a minute, so we just need to put this on, put it over here, and let it dry for about a minute. And while that's doing that, I think we will get out our little bars here, and we'll put on our first little layer of resin in these two bars. Now I'm not going to put the glitter on the bottom here because this is going to be the front, which is the bottom of these. So we want to put the glitter on last with these. Okay. Have the resin in here. We'll have another toothpick. Since I have purple glitter on that one, we don't want to use that one. As you can see, it's already starting to harden up a little bit there. So now we will switch and put this one under the light. Now we are going to take this one and we're going to place our pieces in. As you can see, that has hardened up some. Now, weirdly enough, well, no, not really weird. This resin will dry a lot faster if it's outside in the sunlight. It really loves the sunlight because, well, it's UV resin. So now that we have these placed, our final thing is just to put more resin in here. And we want to fill this tray up as much as we can, because even though it won't go over the top of the button pieces, it will pretty much go over the top of the flowers, and it will go in here enough to hold our people in place. Now we want to take our toothpick again and make sure that the resin is, oops, stay put, little guy, everywhere that we want it to be, and see if we need to add any more resin to the top here. We could probably add just a teeny touch more, but we don't want to add too much because that would, you don't want it to overflow your tray. So we'll just add just a touch or two. And now we will move our UV light over onto this piece, and the instructions say to dry this for 3 to 5 minutes. Well, actually it says about 3, but it takes longer than 3. It will be still sticky at 3 minutes. And so I usually do about 5. And if it's still sticky at that point, if the sun is shining, I'll take it outside and put it in the sun. So that is what we do for our next step. Now for these button ones, what we want are some of these little buttons. So we'll get out what we want. We need 2 purple, 2 black, 2 orange, and 2 of the yellow. So that's the buttons we're going to use. And what we're going to do with those buttons is we're going to take them and we're going to place them in, if you'll notice this piece has these little lines in it. We're going to place a button in between each one of those lines. So I'm going to get my tweezers out and we will pick those up carefully one by one and put them in the tray. Once that's in place, we'll then put some more of the UV resin on top of them and maybe a little glitter behind them. So, okay, now that these have had 2 minutes, I'm going to move it back here and we'll turn it back on while we work on our earring pieces here. So what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to take our buttons and we're going to put them in these little now see, this button apparently has a little knobby on it, so we're going to turn it over so it sits in here better. And lastly, the black one. So now that we've got these in, then we want to put our UV resin in here. Looks like we need just a teeny touch more up here and down here. Maybe a little more up here as well. Come on, bubble, pop. Okay. Well, I thought I'd popped it, but it's still there. There we go. Maybe just a teeny touch more. You don't want to put too much in, because if it overflows the tray, then you need to sand the edges off. So we don't want to have to do that. Bubble. Okie dokie. And it looks like I did overflow here just a touch. Nope, maybe not. There is a bubble right there. Okay, so now lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle. And then a little bit of the orange as well. Oop. And now it's time to put the light on these for a few minutes. As soon as this next minute goes off on the top here. Okay, now that this one has gone off for like the 5th time, we were going to pull it aside and we're going to put our earring pieces under our light for a while. Now, even though this looks pretty sturdy, and I noticed I got a bump of extra resin near her head, as well as sort of towards his as well, but it still looks really cool. And so this is the top for this box. And I'm going to give this little box to my daughter as a little jewelry box. Isn't that cute? Now, I think it's probably still a teeny bit sticky, and it is. So if it stays sticky for you for a while like this, you can take it and put it in the sunlight, and that will dry it out really nicely. So anyway, our little box top is done, and that's our little cute little box with just a little purple sparkles and our flowers and Jack and Sally and a 0 on it. Wasn't that fun? It's really cute. But if I did this again, I'd take my toothpick around her head and his head and his foot down here to try and even that resin out a little bit better than I have it there. But I think they turned out really cute. The resin is high enough to go over that first layer of their button pieces, so that'll hold them nicely in place. So this one is done. And the next to be done will be our earrings. Now what we're going to do with those is when they're all dry, we're going to hook them to these posts. And when we hook them to the posts, we're going to hook these little spiders up with them. Aren't those cute? So anyway, the spiders will hang at the top of the post with the little bar hanging down. So these have to dry for a while, and as soon as they're dry, then we can put them together. Okay, I did put these outside for just a little while, but the sun went behind a cloud, so we brought them back in. Now that these are pretty dry, you can see that they are even trying to come out of their mold, so we will just carefully pull them out. You can see what that's going to look like there. Still a teeny tad sticky, but not too bad, and I probably will put the UV light on them just for a few more moments so that they dry up the rest of the way. So we'll put those down here. Take our tray away, see if we can knock the rest of this glitter off the sides, and put it away. So we'll put these under the UV light for a little bit longer, and we'll see if we can get those to dry up a little bit more so they aren't so sticky when we go back to work with them, and put our last pieces into our earrings. And the box turned out really nice. I put it outside for a while. It's no longer sticky. Like I said, I needed to actually even out this, but it's not bad. It still looks good. And this was just a little box from Michael's that we used, and our buttons were from the Nightmare Before Christmas by Dress It Up buttons. And then these little black posies, also, and gray and white, were also from Dress It Up buttons. I do not remember what that set is called, but all of those colors are in this particular set. So this baby is finished. Isn't that cute? My daughter just informed me she loved it, which is good because I am going to give it to her. So now back to our, see how sticky they are. They're still a tiny bit sticky, not horrible, but a little bit. So we'll put these on for one more minute. Okay, they're still a teeny touch sticky, but I think they are workable now. Now is the time, if you've got any little excess little bits on the edges, to sort of knock those loose. And I think we're pretty good here. So here is what the front side is going to look like. And then we're going to get our spider to hang down in front like there. So I'm not sure that a regular jump ring will go through this loop. If we will check one of my bigger oval jump rings, and if it does, great. If not, we are going to have to make it a jump ring. So we'll see how these work. Now they'll go in, but they won't turn. The piece is too thick, see? So we are not going to be able to use those. So we will get some 20 gauge wire out, and we will make some jump rings for these. Now this is going to be round jump rings because I don't have the capability to make oval ones, but they're not hard to make round ones at all, and we will do that in just a moment. Now I've got some silver 20 gauge wire here, and we're just going to cut a piece off. We don't need a big piece because we're just going to make a couple of big jump rings. Come on, Andy, where are you at? There it is. So we'll just cut off a hunk and put our wire back away. and we will make some jump rings. And in order to do that, just take your bell making pliers, and it depends on how big you want them to be, which piece you use. I'm thinking I may just make some. Actually, let's get my stepped ones. I think there's a spot in between these two. Yeah, I think this one will work nicely. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take hold of our wire, and we're just going to twist it around here. And just keep twisting till you're done with however many you need. I only need a couple, so we're going to just cut that off right there. And then we will just cut down the line here. And there we have jump rings, 2 of them. And we need to straighten these out, and we probably will need to take one sharp edge off, because inevitably when you cut that like that, your flush cutters leave one side that's sharp, which is this side here. So cut that off. And then we'll cut this one off. And we'll bring our jump rings together. Okay, so now that we've got our 2 jump rings, the excess little bits cut off, we want to get them into this position. And I'm going to take my block and my nylon hammer and hammer these a little bit to harden them some so they aren't too horribly soft. So we just need to give it a thump or two and turn them over and do the same. So now these are ready to use. So we'll open them up like we would any jump ring from side to side. And then we will put them on our earring here. There's one. Now we'll put on the second. Nice scrape knowing it's there. So here is our ear wires on. Now because of the way the post goes, see how it's that facing that way, we'll need another small jump ring at least to put these 2 together. So let's open up our little jump ring and we'll hook this onto the post, and then we'll put our spider on. So through here we go, and I'm going to twist this so that the break is inside that nice heavy piece of resin. Do the same with the other side here. sure I get this so it's facing the proper direction. So here is this on its earring post. And now we have to put on our spider. Now, in order to put on the spider, we need to decide how it needs to hang. It could go right onto here, or it could hang with another jump ring right onto our little post. And I'm thinking that's what we're going to do because I don't want it to cover up all the buttons too much. I just want it to cover it up a little bit. So I've got some more small jump rings in here, and we'll open up this jump ring. And I actually considered just hooking the spider onto the now let's see how this hangs, shall we? Is it going to hang the way I want it to? Well, it'll flop around to the sides if it wants to, and oh, that's because of the giant jump ring, I think, is why it's trying to go sideways over here. So the question is, do we want to let it go sideways or do we want to move it? I think we're just going to let it go sideways because that just means it's just going to flop around a bit, and I think that's sort of cute. So, like I say, I don't want it to cover up the buttons, so we'll put our other spider on here. Come here, baby. Make sure we're closed. That looks like one side's up a little bit, so we'll take our pliers and put them in there and give it a tiny squish. That's much better. And then we'll put our back on. Come here, you. I think it's almost time to cut the fingernails. They look like they don't want to grab things anymore. So there is our little resin earrings with our buttons and our spiders. Aren't those cute? I think those are going to be really nice. And I just noticed my jump ring is a tiny bit off on this one, so we'll fix that. That's better. So there's our little resin buttons and spiders. Those cute for Halloween. Won't those be cute for Halloween? So we made these earrings using the Halloween Tiny Rounds Halloween Dress It Up buttons. And I think these are just adorable. I really like those. So let's turn up and be. So that's been our 2 resin projects for today with our Dress It Up buttons. This one with the Nightmare Before Christmas with Jack, Sally, and Zero. And cute little box for little knickknacks or jewelry. I put my earrings in the one I made for myself. This one I'm going to give to my daughter for her earrings. So aren't those cute? And then, of course, our little spider and Halloween button earrings. And I really like those. I think they turned out really cute. And I hope you enjoyed making these beautiful resin projects with me. Remember, if you're going to use resin, try and get a silicone mat. It keeps the resin from sticking to your regular mat or anything else. And then also, of course, you need a mold or something to put your resin in, and your UV resin. But this has been a fun little project using the, like I say, the Dress It Up Halloween Tiny Rounds for the earrings and the Dress It Up Nightmare Before Christmas for the box. And I hope you enjoyed making these with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. Bye-bye.